This video is for mile marker 3, practice 1, question 9. In question 9, we can see that we've been given two sides of the triangle and we're asked to find a missing angle. So if you are coding your mile marker, this is going to be an inverse trig type of problem. So trigonometry, but we'll end up using an inverse trig function. So let's take a look again at our trig information. And let's go ahead and label our triangle. So the hypotenuse, I always label that one first because it never changes. The hypotenuse is always the side that is directly opposite the right angle. What does change is the vocabulary that we use for the opposite or adjacent sides. That is relative to the angle we're looking at. So if you look at angle X, the side that's labeled 23 is going to be the opposite side, because it does not share a vertex with angle X and it's opposite that angle. And then this other side will be the adjacent side or leg because it does share a vertex. So it's adjacent to that angle. Okay, so if we look at the information that we have, we know the hypotenuse and we know the opposite side. And that means we're going to be using the sine and eventually the inverse sine function. All right, so for question 9, let's go ahead and set up our trig statement as if we knew what that angle were. So we'll say that the sine of angle X is equal to, and again, the ratio of opposite to hypotenuse. So 23 over 56. So this is not something that we can plug in our calculator this way. But what we can do in our calculator is if you go to, we'll write it out first, but you'll end up going to second sine. So we'll hit that second menu, and that's where we'll get our inverse sine function. So it's like sine, and then it has an exponent of -1. So if you look here, we're going to just reverse this information when we use the inverse sine function. So I'm going to say the inverse sine of 23 over 56, and that's going to give me the angle X. So this is something that we could plug in our calculator exactly as it is. So when we do that, our calculator is going to tell us that the inverse sine of 23 over 56 is 24 and 251 thousandths. So that's going to be our approximate value for that angle. It's about 24 degrees. But we do want to go ahead and round out to 3 decimal places, which does include a 0. So we do want to include that 0. It's a significant digit when we go ahead and round to 3 decimal places.